Hello everyone and welcome to the latest Tempo Storm Wild Meta Snapshot breakdown for Ashes of Outland. In our last snapshot, Quest Mage emerged from the recent nerfs almost unscathed, and it looked poised to dominate the format in a tier of its own. However, the Wild community wasn't ready to let Quest Mage run amok without a fight. Aggro is back, and Odd Demon Hunter and Pirate Warrior have flooded the ladder and knocked Quest Mage back down to tier 1. In this aggressive new world, control decks may be poised to return to relevance, and top-tier anti-aggro decks like Jade, Druid, and Reno Priest are in a prime position to reap the benefits. The Wild meta is shifting, so join our experts as we take a closer look at the format's latest developments. As always, be sure to subscribe to our channel and to turn notifications on to be kept up to date with all of our Hearthstone content. Now let's get started. Quest Mage's place at the top of the meta is no longer set in stone, as new builds of Pirate Warrior and Odd Demon Hunter are flooding the ladder and putting the pressure on Mage by rushing it down in the early game. Even though Quest Mage isn't holding its position in tier S anymore, that doesn't mean it isn't still one of the most powerful decks in the game. Between Mana Cyclone and Evocation generating near endless resources, the Sorcerer's Apprentice and Flamewaker combo serving up massive damage, and an explosive one-turn kill with Giants and Time Warp, Quest Mage simply dominates slower strategies like Reno Priest and Jade Druid. Even against aggro, an experienced Quest Mage player can find an explosive combination that neutralizes their aggression and sets up a lethal counter-attack. With this kind of power, Quest Mage will always have a warping effect on the meta, so even if it's not the most popular deck in the format, it's still setting the pace. The rise of aggro may be a deterrent to Quest Mage, but the rest of tier 1 is well equipped to fight back, and no deck illustrates this more than Jade Druid. Jade is packed with all the armor gain, efficient removal, and spreading plagues it needs to punish onboard aggression, and against slower decks, the Dex Kael'thas combos and Jade idols can still build a massive board to stake a claim in the late game. Jade's well positioned against aggro, but it can come up short against decks like Even Shaman that are well suited to penetrate its defenses, or against combo decks like Mecha Warlock that can disregard those defenses altogether. Cube Warlock is also gaining traction in the wake of aggro's rise and Quest Mage's decline. Warlocks have access to more early game removal than ever, with Defile, Dark Skies, Plague of Flames, and the new Unstable Fellbolt all available to keep the board clear long enough for Warlock to overwhelm the board with demons, courtesy of Voidcaller and Skull of the Minari. If Voidlord and Enhanced Dreadlord hit the board early, there's not much that decks like Pirate Warrior or Odd Demon Hunter can do without a silence effect. Against slower decks, Cube's abundance of resilient threats can be difficult to answer with most removal, which makes it a race against time for decks like Reno Priest and Mecha Warlock to reach their win conditions before Cube can overwhelm them. Reno Priest has been steadily climbing their tier list ever since the unnerf to Raza the Chained, and with Quest Mage declining and Darkest Hour Warlock gone for good, we're seeing Anduin climb back to tier 1 status for the first time since Big Priest. Between its abundance of removal and the healing from Reno Jackson, Reno Priest has one of the most ironclad defenses against early board aggro in the game. At the same time, the combo with Shadow Reaper Anduin and Raza the Chained can generate so much damage that even decks like Jade Druid and Odd Warrior can't armor up enough to withstand it. Reno Priest has a lot of power, but it's still too slow to race against combo decks like Quest Mage and Mecha Warlock. Fortunately for Anduin, combo decks like this are being overshadowed by aggro for the time being, which makes now a better time than ever to queue up with Reno Priest. Moving on to tier 2, Pirate Warrior charges back to relevance as one of the most effective counters to Quest Mage that the format could ask for. The early onslaught of cheap pirates and ship's cannon is simply too much for Quest Mage to handle, and with the latest builds all featuring Corsair cash to draw into Ankar, pirates have access to all the extra damage and card draw they need to push the game out of reach. Even with this added consistency, Pirate Warrior is far from bulletproof, since it can be easily shut down by heavy removal and healing from decks like Reno Priest and Jade Druid. Still, Pirate Warrior is one of the most popular decks in the game, so don't let it catch you off guard. Odd Demon Hunter is another deck with a solid matchup against Quest Mage, but unlike Pirate Warrior, Odd Demon Hunter is better equipped to deal with anti-aggro strategies that can lock Pirate Warrior out of the game completely. Both Battlefiend and Lowly Squire pair up well with the 1-mana upgraded hero power to rack up damage and dominate the board early, and going into the late game, Warglaves of Azzinoth and Priestess of Fury join in to keep the pressure on. This late game staying power, combined with mana burn to deny key plays from the opponent, gives Odd Demon Hunter fair odds against decks that would otherwise grind it out in the late game, such as Jade Druid and Even Shaman. Speaking of Even Shaman, the changing meta is a mixed bag for Thrall's evergreen wild aggro deck, but it's still holding strong in tier 2 for now. With the totem buff package and solid early removal from Merc Spark Eel and Maelstrom Portal, even Shaman tends to dominate other board-centric aggro decks like Pirate Warrior, but as those decks become more and more popular, anti-aggro strategies are also bound to become more popular in response. Of those strategies, even Shaman can do well enough against Jade Druid and Cube Warlock thanks to Devolve, but Reno Priest and Reno Quest Mage can easily crush Shaman's board with removal and stabilize with Reno Jackson. Despite the poor Reno matchups, the rest of even Shaman's matchup spread is solid, so you can expect to see this deck stick around for the foreseeable future. The last deck we'll be showcasing was teetering on the brink of collapse after the nerf to Bloodbloom, but thanks to an updated version of the Mecha-Thun combo featuring Dollmaster Dorian and Kael'thas Sunstrider, Mecha-Thun Warlock is back, and it may be faster and more consistent than ever. The Mecha-Thun combo goes over the top of any amount of armor and healing, and is unbeatable in fatigue, which makes it strong against anti-aggro decks like Jade Druid, but at the same time, Mecha-Thun Warlock is also packing plenty of anti-aggro tools of its own, so it can weather the storm against aggro decks like Pirate Warrior that try to race against it. Even with the strengths against both aggro and control, Mecha-Thun has a serious weakness against other combo decks, so while Mecha-Thun is back in tier 2 for now, its future is uncertain as long as Quest Mage is still waiting in the wings. Altogether, we've seen the wild meta bounce back against the threat of Quest Mage dominance with an explosion of aggro decks that are keeping Jaina at bay. In response to the meta's aggressive shift, we're seeing a potential wave of anti-aggro strategies develop, which may prompt combo decks to rise up again to beat them. The cycle continues and powerful strategies and counter strategies abound, so we're keeping a close eye on the wild meta to see how the format evolves from here. Be sure to check out the full meta report for all the details, and as always, be sure to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell to stay up to date with all of our wild Hearthstone content. Thanks for watching.